Welcome back, everybody, to the Madden 21 Jacksonville Jaguars franchise here on the PS5. Before we do anything today, I'd like to thank all of you for helping me reach the 4,000 subscriber milestone. We hit that today, so really appreciate you all, but we're just scratching the surface of what we will be doing. So now on to today's video. If you missed last episode, we had a really exciting game against the Indianapolis Colts. Ended up winning it 38-35. We were up by, I think, 3 possessions for most of the game. The Colts came back, took the lead at one point, but we had a big drive down the field, led by the rookie quarterback Coco Nwosu to help us win the game. Coco had his best game of his career, almost 400 all-purpose yards, 4 total touchdowns, and we now know that he is superstar development. He actually originally had star development, but he also had a breakout opportunity last episode. He successfully completed the breakout challenge, and he was able to move up to superstar development. So really quite the start to the career of Coco Nwosu. So now we will be doing a prospect profile here for offensive and defensive linemen. I did this prospect profile a little bit different. We are talking about more players than normal, but I didn't show highlights for everybody. And a lot of the graphics I've made are a little bit more simple than in the past. So let me know what you think of the new style here for the prospect profiles. I think this is quicker and easier for me to do, and we're going to be talking about more players in a similar amount of time to the previous prospect profiles. So that's how we're going to do it. Let me know what you think of the new style and the new graphics. I'm not sold on the new graphics yet. I am still improvising some changes, but I do hope you guys will like it. Before we get to the prospect profile itself, though, I do want to point out that I have updated the draft class to add the players who have recently declared. So guys like Keith Fleming and Jesse McKenzie are now in. I will probably have an episode pretty soon where we briefly go over some of the prospects at positions we've already looked at who just declared for the draft. So we're going to do offensive and defensive linemen today, starting with the offensive line, and I do want to assess what we currently have there. At the tackle positions, we're set, with Bentley Vonderwalson on the left side, Orlando Brown on the right side. The interior of the offensive line, however, I'm not sold on. Andrew Norwell and Brandon Linder are both free agents at the end of the season, and Nick Harris and Damian Lewis are just developmental guys at the moment. So I don't really know if we have any of our long-term guards or centers on the roster. Unfortunately, this is a pretty weak offensive line class at tackle, guard, and center. So if you need an offensive lineman early, this is probably not a particularly good draft class for you. Since there aren't a ton of great offensive linemen, I have not gotten any highlights or graphics for them. We're just going to be talking about a few guys here in this draft class real quick. Starting with the top projected tackle, Jace Wheeler-Kennedy, currently a projected fringe top 10 pick, although he's probably more of a late day 2, early day 3 talent. He does have a lot of potential, but certainly not a guy who should go in the first round. Another tackle who's probably going to be overdrafted this year simply because of the lack of tackle talent in this class is Xavion Michiel out of Mississippi State. Another guy projected to go in the first round, although he probably shouldn't. Now let's take a look at one of the guards. This is Willie Wiggins out of Westlake. Wiggins was recruited to actually play center. However, he moved over to guard and was incredible this past season for the Hornets, one of the best offensive linemen in the country. Going to be a really good late day 2, early day 3 pick for whoever gets him. One of my favorite projected undrafted players in this class is Cleland Ozuriguye, an offensive guard out of Louisville. I think he's really good, and I think he could be a guy we look at towards the later part of the draft, someone who we could develop into an early starter. Another projected undrafted player I really like is center Maluhialani Moliakalaniko. Yeah, that's a really fun name to say. I had to sound it out like 4 times before I did this, but Maluhialani is going to be a fun player in the NFL, and certainly a guy who we could look at on day 3 of the draft. Mike Rhodes out of Westlake also had a phenomenal season this past year for the Hornets, winning the Remington Award, which is regarded as the award for the best center in college football. Rhodes was really good this year for the Hornets, going to be a very solid day 2 pick. So now let's talk about the defensive line, and we're certainly in an interesting spot on the defensive line. Starting with the defensive ends, we have 2 great players in Josh Allen and K'Lavon Chaisson. Allen's been one of the best pass rushers in the NFL this season. He already has 9 sacks after only having 8 sacks in all of last season. We do have to pay Josh Allen soon, His contract will be ending after next year. We did accept his 5th-year option in the offseason, so we're going to have to pay him the big bucks. And if we do pay Josh Allen, how are we going to pay K'Lavon Chaisson? Chaisson has really blossomed into a phenomenal young player right in front of our very eyes. He does have a 5th-year team option this offseason, so assuming we accept it, we'll have another 2 years left on his deal. And defensive tackle, I do think, is a pretty big need. Sheldon Rankins is hurt at the moment, and he's a free agent at the offseason. And after that, we don't have a ton of talent behind him. This defensive line class is really good, specifically at the defensive end positions. I know Nick Gardner's name is censored. There were actually, quite a few names who are censored, which is really odd. I mean, the name Nick isn't inappropriate. I think the name Reggie is being censored. So, again, I don't know why the game is deciding to censor names, but oh well. First guy I want to look at, someone who just declared for the draft, DeJuan Price out of BYU. Only 20 years old. We don't have highlights for him because I actually forgot. I wanted to get highlights for him, but it totally slipped my mind. But he's still a really raw player, but if someone can develop him, he'll be great. Let's take a look at another projected first-round defensive end. This is Amaziah Okeke out of USC. Okeke is also very freakishly athletic like DeJuan Price. Okeke is a redshirt sophomore, but he is a little bit more technically sound than a guy like DeJuan Price. I just don't think he has the upside that DeJuan Price has. Okeke is a mid-first projected player, but he has early first-round talent right now. He doesn't really have a great work ethic at the moment, which is the big concern, but Okeke is a phenomenal player, and if you can get a coach who will really want to hone in on his skills and strive him to work harder, he'll be a stud in this league. One of the surprising players who declared for the draft early was Will Herring out of Westlake. Herring led college football in sacks this year with 10. Now, mainly that's just because there weren't a ton of great pass rushers in college football this season, but Will Herring was still very solid. He showed a lot of strides this year as a run defender. He does not have great athleticism, and I think that's why he's probably going to be a 3rd or 4th round draft pick. But he had a very solid season this year at Westlake, and I think he could be a pretty good developmental pass rusher. Another potential really good late-round left end is Kamil Oye from Alabama. Projected to go in the 7th round, but if these teams are smart, he will go earlier than that. Let's take a look at right end now. As we know, Ohio State's always loaded on the defensive line. This year is no different, as they have 2 projected first-round defensive linemen, including Eldridge Payne, who is the top projected defensive lineman in this year's class and projected to go in the top 5. Payne kind of came out of nowhere this year as a redshirt senior. He has been one of the best defensive players in the nation. He's a smart football player. He has very good athleticism, but he's not a great run defender. He has some medical question marks, and this is really his first year of being super good. Entering this season, he was probably going to go in the 3rd or 4th round, but has kind of skyrocketed out of nowhere into being a top 5 pick. The next projected right defensive end, another potential top 10 pick, is Terrence Poole out of the University of Wisconsin. Poole is a very athletic edge rusher. He's a really smart player. Some of his coaches have described him as he's the smartest guy in the film room as just a redshirt sophomore. He led the FBS in fumble forces this year with 6. He still has some technical skills to work on, and he is a little bit raw, but he seems to have passion for the game of football, and I think he could be a really good player in the NFL. Let's take a look at the other projected first-round right ends, including Jonathan Boston, the 4th out of Louisville. Very good player. He's a solid run stopper. He can also go after the quarterback, and I think he'll be a high-floor player who goes in the middle of the first round. A high-ceiling player who could go in the middle of the first round is Avonte Harris-Giles out of Illinois. He has all the physical skills to be great. He is a little bit raw right now, but if you can develop him, you're getting an absolute stud. Another player who's a little bit raw but needs some developing is Ben Jones out of LSU. Jones is projected to go a little bit later than Harris-Giles, although I do think he is a little bit better right now. Let's take a look at another Westlake Hornet. Nick Gardner, the redshirt senior. He is only a 1-year starter and had a fine season this year. He wasn't spectacular, but the thing I like the most about Gardner is his best plays are in big-time situations. Of course, he had the game-winning fumble recovery in the national championship which of course helped Westlake win that game. He does not have elite speed, nor does he have elite get-off, but he does have very solid athleticism, and overall he's a pretty well-rounded player. He never developed into a great defensive end at Westlake, and I think that limits his ceiling, but I think he could be a high-floor player drafted probably in the second round and can be a solid pass rusher in this league for a long time. So I do think Nick Gardner has a very bright future in the NFL. One of my favorite late-round gems in this class is Marcel Stokely out of the University of Minnesota. Stokely is a very high-character player. He was named as a team captain, even though he's only a redshirt sophomore. And there are some scouts who absolutely love this kid. One scout we talked to said that he had top 10 pick potential, even though he's projected to go in the 7th round. He has great athleticism as well, but he is a little bit raw, and you're going to have to develop him. You're kind of taking a flyer on his skills, but if you combine his athleticism along with his high character, there's no reason not to take a guy like Marcel Stokely early on day 3. I think the Jaguars are certainly going to take a great look at him. The final position we'll be looking at today is defensive tackle, starting with Giles Warrington out of Ohio State. Him and Eldridge Payne have become one of the top 1-2 punches in college football, and Warrington is a beast on the field, probably a top 5 player in this class, but his issues are off the field. In his collegiate career, he has suffered torn meniscuses, torn rotator cuff, fractured ankle, and torn PCLs in both knees. He also has some character concerns, and some of those injuries did not happen on the field. They happened when he was being a knucklehead off the field. He has multiple arrests to his name. He's described as a negative distraction in the locker room. So if he can go to a high-character organization who can mold him into a good person, you're getting a top 5 talent. The final players whose highlights we'll be looking at is Kez October from Westlake. Another guy who makes his best plays in the biggest moments. He had that game-winning fumble for us in the national championship that was, of course, recovered by Nick Gardner. October's a guy who always gives 100% effort on every play, and his teammates really like him for that. But he doesn't have the highest motor. I know that graphic said he was high energy, but that's kind of a lie. I wouldn't say he's super high energy. If you can get him conditioned, he'll be really good. He's also the brother of Octavius October, who was a first-rounder a couple years ago by the Chargers. Another undrafted defensive tackle who I like is Keolama Uluo Moliakaniko. This is the twin brother of the center, Maluhialani Moliakaniko. So yes, there are 2 players with that ridiculously long last name, and those names are so challenging to say. For my sake, maybe the Jaguars shouldn't pick one of those guys because I don't know how I'm going to be able to say that name consistently. So now let's talk about the Jaguars themselves. We have a big game this week coming up against the Eagles. As the season ended today, we would be the 2 seed playing the Houston Texans in the first round of the playoffs. We are currently a game ahead of the Texans, and we do have the head-to-head tiebreaker over them. The Eagles are 6-6. They're a really solid team. They were actually the 1 seed in the NFC last year, nearly made the Super Bowl. They're a really good team. They haven't been as good this year, but they're still very solid, and on primetime football, it's going to be a tough matchup for us. They have a lot of great players, including Fletcher Cox in the middle of that defensive line. Cox has been one of the most underrated players in the NFL for probably close to a decade now. He's really good. At quarterback, they still have Carson Wentz, who is still not terrible, unlike in real life. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. I still believe Carson Wentz can turn it around in real life, but here, he has not had a great season. 18 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. He is a solid quarterback, but he's not a great player. So, I guess that's solid news for us. They also have Devontae Cunningham on their defensive line, who's one of the more important players in this series, and you guys might not remember this guy, but remember in the first draft, we had the 4th pick. We moved down 3 spots with the Eagles, who traded up to get Devontae Cunningham, who's been an okay player, hasn't necessarily looked like a top 5 pick. We used that 7th pick on Zaire Wiggins, and we used the assets that we got from the Eagles to move up in order to get Bentley Vander Walson. So if it weren't for Devontae Cunningham, we probably would not have both Zaire Wiggins and Bentley Vander Walson. So before we enter today's game, I want to show you guys the XP sliders because I'm actually going to be making a big change with them. I'm going to be increasing all of them by quite a lot. I've been taking some notes from Mr. Hurricane series with the Broncos, and I do think it's a good idea to increase the XP sliders get the young guys in this league to really develop, not just on the Jaguars, but around the league, because there are a lot of young players whose stories we've been looking at on this channel since they were in high school. So, I really want to see a lot of these young guys blossom as we get to today's game. A rainy one here in Duval County, Jacksonville, Florida. Sunday night action between the 8-4 Jacksonville Jaguars and the 6-6 Philadelphia Eagles. The Jaguars have an opportunity to clinch their first over 500 record in this series. The Jags won their division last year, but only at 8-8, so they have a chance to go over 500 for the first time. Eagles starting with the football as Wentz is immediately sacked on first down by the rookie defensive tackle from Manitoba, Canada. It's Bleat Fryerwood bringing him down. Fryerwood's a very interesting young player who the Jaguars could look to build around if they don't draft defensive tackle in this year's upcoming draft. 3rd and 9, there's the tight end, Daniel Romer, for a gain of 16 yards and a first down. The Eagles have a pretty talented defense. Might not be an easy one for this offense, especially considering the conditions, as J.K. Dobbins loses 3, courteous of the linebacker Anthony Walker. 3rd and 13 now. Coco looking to throw it. Going to go deep for Chark, and it's caught but out of bounds. Kind of looks like in real time Chark got his feet down, but the officials will say no, and the Eagles get the football. 2nd and 10. Wentz up the middle for an open man. It's the star running back Miles Sanders for a gain of about 26 yards, bringing it to the 45. The Eagles have taken this drive very slowly and methodically, but they've driven down the field super nicely. A lot of short runs, no really big plays. There's Adam Humphries to the 7, and the Eagles are just chugging forward down the field. Again, not a lot of big plays other than that 26-yard gain from Sanders, but they're just moving the ball well. 3rd and goal from the 4. Wentz for the end zone. It's caught by the veteran wideout Alshon Jeffrey for the touchdown. And the Eagles will strike first. They now lead this one 7-0. Jacksonville back with the football. R.J. Ewell gets the handoff. Ewell runs past the safety, and he is pushed out in enemy territory at the 38-yard line for a gain of 30. Nice run there for Ewell, who now has 500 rushing yards on the season, continuing his very solid rookie campaign. 3rd and 4 now. Nwosu going deep again for Chark, who once again makes a nice grab, but out of bounds. Jacksonville forced to kick the field goal, a 48-yard attempt for Josh Lambo. It barely hooks in, but it is good nonetheless. And the Jaguars will make this game a little bit closer, as it is now 7-3. Probably the final play of the first quarter here, as Wentz is sacked by Josh Allen. Allen with his 10th sack of the season. Josh Allen now with double-digit sack campaigns in 3 out of his first 4 NFL seasons. The only year that Josh Allen did not get double-digit sacks was last year when he had 8. The right tackle, Lane Johnson, did not even attempt to block Allen on that play, who got to the backfield within the span of around 2 seconds. That'll do it for quarter number 1. We've got ourselves a good battle so far. Philadelphia on top, 7-3. 3rd and 15 here for the Eagles as Carson Wentz looking to throw it. He has time on the run, and it is going to be dropped. It looked like Alshon Jeffrey caught it, but it was broken up at the last second. Doesn't look like it'll matter, though, as there's a roughing the passer call on Josh Jackson, which will lead to an automatic Eagles first down. A huge flag there for Jackson, and Philadelphia will keep the drive going. As here's a nice pass for Caleb Wilson, former Mr. Irrelevant. He was the last pick in the, I believe, 2019 draft by the Arizona Cardinals. Now here in Philadelphia, he's carved himself a fairly solid career as a depth tight end. Following play from the 38. Wentz, this time for Humphries. He gets it to the 21-yard line, and Philly is moving it very nicely. The Eagles' offense, for the most part, has been really good today outside of a few sacks. Now it's going to be a handoff for Miles Sanders, and he will lose 2. Taga Tuluiaipupu with the initial contact. David Harris, the former Westlake Hornet, for 1-2, bring him down. And now it is 3rd and 6 from the 17-yard line. Wentz gonna look to throw it, and it is somehow intercepted. What a play by C.J. Henderson, his 4th INT of the season, jumping in front of the receiver. What a pick by C.J. Henderson. That's his first interception this season against a team not named the Buffalo Bills. Jacksonville back on offense. Not a great start to the drive. Ewell loses 2. The Philadelphia native, Will Parks, is the one who brings him down, forcing a loss of 3. Jacksonville is in safety territory, down at the 7. You have to watch out for that. As on 2nd and 12, J.K. Dobbins loses another yard. Fletcher Cox brings him down, and the Jaguars would not capitalize off of the turnover, but they still got a good red zone stop. 7-3, still the score. Wentz from the 41, up the middle. It is caught by the tight end Ty Young, who gets it to the 42-yard line. The Eagles still have Zach Ertz, but Ertz is the only tight end who hasn't really gotten involved today. 2nd and 7, a short pass from Wentz over to Adam Humphries, who's had a nice first half. Humphries pushed out by Wiggins at the 21-yard line, and again, the Eagles are really moving the ball down the field well. I know the score is only 7-3, but the Eagles have been far and away the better team today for the most part. 3rd and 4, Miles Sanders on the reception. He gets it to the 4-yard line. And Jacksonville's defense is just letting the Eagles drive down the field. Outside of the couple sacks and the interception, Jacksonville's defense has not been good at all today. 3rd and goal, Wentz keeps it himself on the read option for a Philly touchdown, and the Eagles will extend their lead as it is now 14-3. Past the 2-minute warning now. Let's see if the Jaguars can drive down the field, make this game within 1 possession before we head to halftime. As Onwosu scrambling, he's going to try to run for the first down. And he only gets 7 before sliding down at the 42. The Eagles would call time, and they have a chance to maybe make this game 21-3. Things could get ugly early. Wentz from the 20, under a lot of pressure. He somehow gets it to Miles Sanders, who gains around 23. The Jaguars should have gotten to stop by sacking Wentz. Then they should have stopped Miles Sanders behind the backfield, but none of those things happened. Now from the 49, a short pass here back to Miles Sanders, who's been great as a receiver in the first half. He brings it to the 35. Eagles are now in field goal range. Eagles are now down to 1 timeout. 2nd down from the 35. Carson Wentz under a little bit of pressure. He's going to scramble with it, and he runs for about 9. But what are the Eagles doing? They're not calling their timeout, and the clock will run out. It's like Andy Reid never left. The poor clock management is still here with the Eagles, and that'll do it for the first half. 14-3 is your score. I feel like the Eagles should be up by way more than 11, so if the Jaguars are lucky, this is still a game. The Jacksonville offense has been atrocious. Koko Onwosu has not been good so far. The run game has been atrocious outside of that one nice run by Ewell, and the defense has not been a lot better either. So, it's only an 11-point game, but I feel like the Jaguars are being absolutely dominated at the moment. 3rd and 5, Koko's pass is incomplete. Another stop for the Eagle defense. And, I mean, if the Eagles can just try to find the end zone, they should be able to break away here and really turn this game into a blowout. 3rd and 9, Sanders on the screen. He does get the first down. The Jaguars had an opportunity to stop him, but they don't. Sanders got around 10 on the play. Another 3rd down. This time it is 3rd and 8. Wentz trying to go up the middle for Alshon Jeffrey, but the pass is incomplete, so the Jaguars do get a stop, believe it or not, and they actually forced a punt. 3rd and 1, trying to run for the first down, but R.J. Ewell is stopped short by Anthony Walker Jr., so now it's 4th and inches. The Jaguars are going to say, screw it, we have nothing to lose here, as J.K. Dobbins, with his best run of the game, getting 9 yards and a conversion. Maybe this is the play that can start to give the Jaguars offense some momentum, possibly. From the 50, Koko under pressure, and he connects with DJ Chark. And now the offense is starting to figure things out. Chark with a gain of 19, his first reception of the game. Handoff for R.J. Ewell. Now Ewell finds the first down, and the Jags, for the first time today, are in the red zone. The offense now starting to click. It might be too little too late, but it's still only an 11-point game. 2nd and 4, Koko is intercepted. Right when things were going well, they're not going well anymore. Anthony Walker with the INT, his 3rd of the season, and pretty much all the momentum the Jaguars were starting to gain was immediately zapped away. Eagles back with the football. Carson Wentz connects with the 3rd-year pro out of TCU. It's Jalen Reagor for the first down. 2nd and 3 now. Wentz looking to throw it. He connects with the tight end Ty Young, breaking the tackle from Harris, brought down and around midfield by Henderson. And it looks like the Eagles' offense is again starting to do some damage. Following play, short throw here, back to Young, who gets it inside the 35. And again, this Eagles offense is continuing to drive down the field nicely. They just really have struggled putting up points on the board. No score change here through 3. It's a low-scoring game, 14-3, although still, the Eagles have been far and away the better team today, and they should be winning this game by more than 11. 3rd and 6. Wentz under pressure. He's sacked. A huge play for K'Lavon Chaisson that could knock the Eagles out of field goal range. A costly decision to hold on to the ball by Wentz. He should have just thrown it away, and instead the Eagles had to kick the field goal, and it's no good. That attempt was 54 yards out from Elliott, but he missed it, and it remains 14-3. It's like the Eagles are getting so close to the end zone, but they just don't want to score. And a very good start to the drive here for the Jaguars. J.K. Dobbins brings it to the 23. Dobbins is the first Jaguar today with multiple receptions, which shows that the pass game has not been good at all. This is definitely Coco's worst game of his career. 2nd and 1. R.J. Ewell finds the end zone for a Jacksonville touchdown, their first touchdown of the game. But we do have a flag on the field, a holding call on Andrew Norwell. So the one touchdown the Jaguars had is being called back. 3rd and 5 now from the 18. Jacksonville needs a first down conversion, and they get that and more. Touchdown, Jacksonville. So the holding call proves to not be a huge deal as DJ Chark will find the end zone. Jacksonville cuts the lead down to 5. They're going to go for 2, trying to make it a field goal deficit. Coco calls an audible. It's a short pass for Ewell, who gets the conversion. What a heads-up play by Coco. He recognized that the Eagles were going to send a ton of pressure up the middle, so rather than going for a run, why not go for a short pass to the running back? A very heads-up play from Coco. Ewell with a nice play after the catch. And the Jaguars are now only down by 3 with 7.5 minutes to go. This game is not over, but the Eagles are still in the driver's seat. Miles Sanders brings it to the 41. The Jaguars have had no answer for Miles Sanders today. He's done a really good job running the ball, but he's been even more of a problem in the receiving game. 8 catches for 110 yards. 2nd down now. That pass is incomplete, but we do have a flag. Pass interference. The Jaguars have really gotten unlucky with some of these calls today, as it's Josh Jackson. He had a bad roughing the passer earlier. 2nd and 2 now from the 36 for the Eagles. Wentz under pressure. He is sacked, and he is injured. Carson Wentz in pain on the ground. That was Reynoso Fadukazi with the sack, but obviously the attention here is Carson Wentz. Hopefully he will be okay. And Jalen Hurts will now enter the game at quarterback for the Eagles. Let's see what he can do. Hurts, the 3rd-year pro out of Oklahoma, also played college in Alabama, helped the Crimson Tide win a national title. Hurts sacked on the play by Josh Allen. His 2nd sack of the game. The Jaguars as a team have 5 sacks today. The Eagles have none. And with 4.5 minutes to go, Jacksonville has the ball, only down by 3. They have a chance to take the lead. 1st and 20 after a hold. It's DJ Chark who gets the first down. So the penalty actually proved to be a pretty good thing for Jacksonville. Big second half so far for Chark. 3 catches, 59 yards, all of which are in the second half. Following play from the 45, it's Chark again. Nice throw from Coco. And this Jacksonville offense is starting to figure things out. Now at the 33, the Jags are in field goal range. Big 3rd and 10 here. Coco up the middle again for DJ Chark. He gets the first down to the 18. And Jacksonville is inching closer and closer to this end zone. Dobbins in motion. It's a short throw for J.K. Dobbins. Whoop! Whoop! Pair of jukes from Dobbins, tackled inside the 5 at the 3. What has happened these last 5 minutes? The Jaguars have just flipped a switch here in the 4th quarter as J.K. all day. J.K. Dobbins will find the end zone, and the Jacksonville Jaguars will take the lead here with 2 minutes and 17 seconds to go. The Eagles are now down by 4 with a backup quarterback in the game trying to lead them down the field. Let's see what Jalen Hurts can do. Hurts on first down is sacked again. That was Julius Williams who brought him down. 6 sacks today now for the defense. 2nd and 14. Hurts going to try to keep it himself, and he will run for the first down. Nice play by Jalen Hurts. Down to around 40 seconds left. Eagles still have all their timeouts as it's Alshon Jeffrey to the 38-yard line. Eagles would call timeout number 1. Down to 29 seconds left. Field goal does nothing, by the way, for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts again scrambling and again running for the first down as he is going to run out of bounds inside the 20. A huge run here from Jalen Hurts, who's having an incredible drive. Eagles still with 2 timeouts. Here is Hurts on first down, looking to throw it. He connects with Young for the touchdown, and the Eagles are on top with 15 seconds to go. What a drive by the backup quarterback, Jalen Hurts, and Philadelphia is up by 3. Jacksonville now pretty much needs a miracle. They do have all 3 timeouts, and a field goal can still tie it. As on first down, Coco gonna scramble with it, taking a shot downfield, and it's nearly caught by Romer. Down to 6 seconds. Jacksonville pretty much has to lob up a Hail Mary. Onwosu heaves it deep, and it's caught by Darius Slay out of bounds. And that will do it. The comeback bid from Jacksonville falls short, and the Philadelphia Eagles will win it 21-18 your final. I gotta give Jacksonville some credit, though. The Jaguars played horrendous in the first 3 quarters on both sides of the ball, but in that 4th quarter, Jacksonville really kept fighting. They had the lead at one point and could have won this game had it not been for Jalen Hurts having that ridiculous drive at the end of the game. Carson Wentz was not bad. He wasn't great, but he did outplay Coco. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was incredible. Coco had his worst game of his career today. He did play well in the 4th quarter, but the first 3 quarters, he was bad. Now, I think that's just more so impressive because Coco has not had any bad games yet until today, so, I mean, it's bound to happen. He's only 20 years old. Miles Sanders with a great game on the ground and in the air. He led all receivers with 113 yards. Chark led us with 97 yards. Ty Young, the tight end, had 77 yards, including the game-winning touchdown. Our pass rush was really good, though. We had 6 sacks. They had none. That is really impressive. Our pass rush really starting to come along. Interceptions for Henderson and Walker. We do have a new injury, though, and it's Ifeadi Odenigbo with a torn labrum. His regular season is over, and he will miss the first round of the playoffs if we do make it. And this one sucks. Odenigbo already was out for the first half of the year, and since he's returned, he's actually played pretty well. So it's unfortunate to have him injured again. He's on the last year of his contract, and he had quite a bit to prove this year in a contract year, and he played pretty well in 5 games as a rotational pass rusher, but he only played 5 games. Can we trust him to stay healthy next year? As you can see in the playoff bracket, we are still projected to finish as the 2 seed, but they now have us playing the Browns in the first round, a possible rematch from last year. So we're 8-5. The Texans are 7-6. They also just lost. So if we win and the Texans lose, we clinch the AFC South. And that can happen as early as this week here against the Cowboys. Hope everybody enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe. Again, let me know what you thought of the prospect profiles in the comments below. I'm out. Peace.